Ava thought it was just a stupid fight in traffic, until she looked in the mirror and saw 7 black SUVs following her, because the man on that motorcycle had marked her. The black SUV showed up in her rearview mirror the same second the biker raised his middle finger at her. Horns blared on the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, red brake lights in every lane. Ava Collins hit her palm against the steering wheel. "Are you kidding me?" she shouted. The motorcycle had cut across 2 lanes and forced her to slam on the brakes so hard her seatbelt dug into her chest. The rider slowed in front of her, engine rumbling, helmet turning toward her with lazy arrogance. He tapped the back of his bike with his glove, a mocking little gesture. Ava lowered her window. "You almost hit me." He twisted his body just enough so she could see him. Dark jacket over broad shoulders, black helmet, relaxed posture. "You slammed your brakes first." His voice came through, deep and rough. "Maybe try paying attention." "You cut me off," she fired back. "There's a line. It's called a lane. You stay in it." He laughed once, short and amused. "Relax. Nobody died." "That's your standard? Nobody died? So you get to drive however you want?" "Are you always this dramatic?" he asked. "Or is it just my lucky night?" Her jaw locked. She was late for a client meeting that could decide her job. Her rent was due. Her gas tank was almost empty. And now this. "Trust me, it's not your lucky night," she said. "You're reckless and arrogant. And if there's a scratch on my car, you're paying for it." He lifted his visor halfway. Ava's words stalled. He was unfairly handsome. Strong jaw, dark stubble, full mouth, green eyes that met hers without a hint of apology. His face should have belonged to someone kind. It sat on a man who looked like trouble. "Eyes on the road, sweetheart," he said. "You're staring." "I'm staring at a problem," she snapped. "You think rules don't apply to you." He glanced at her hood, then back at her. For a second, the humor in his eyes cooled while he studied her. "Relax and drive home, Collins," he said. Her spine went stiff. "What did you call me?" The light ahead turned green. Cars behind them honked. He slid the visor down. "Light's green," he said, and with a twist of his wrist he disappeared between lanes. She sat frozen for 2 beats, pulse pounding. He could have seen her license plate. That was all. Her phone buzzed on the passenger seat. "Jenna, where are you?" "Clients are here. Ava. 5 minutes. It would be at least 20. She swallowed, followed the flow of cars off the expressway and onto city streets toward Brooklyn. She was still replaying the sound of him saying her last name when she saw it. A black SUV, 4 cars behind, glossy paint reflecting streetlights, dark windows, no logo. She forced herself to ignore it. At the next light, she turned right. The SUV turned right. Her shoulders tensed. She checked her mirrors again. A second black SUV rolled onto the street behind the first, steady and unhurried. At the next intersection, she went straight. So did both SUVs. Her chest tightened. She took an unnecessary left onto a side street with closed stores and dark windows. Both SUVs followed. Her fingers slipped on the steering wheel. She wiped her palm on her jeans. Her phone buzzed. She ignored it. She changed lanes. The first SUV matched. So did the second. Fear crawled up her spine. This was not normal. At the next light, the signal turned yellow. She pressed down on the gas and went through just before it switched. The SUVs rolled after her without even pausing. Her hand shot to her phone. She opened the call screen and hovered between 911 and her brother's number. Her brother, Nate Collins, was a detective. He would know what to do. But her thumb shook so badly she couldn't touch either contact. Traffic thickened. As she eased off the gas, the first SUV surged forward and slid into the lane beside her. The second closed in behind her bumper. From a side street ahead, a third SUV turned smoothly and pulled in front of her car. In a blink, she was boxed in. Her compact car sat in the middle of 3 dark vehicles. The light turned red. The SUV in front stopped. The one beside stopped. The one behind stayed so close she could not reverse. Ava's lungs forgot how to work. On the sidewalk, people walked past with shopping bags. Inside other cars, drivers watched, some with phones raised. A door opened on the SUV next to her. A man stepped out. Dark coat, fitted shirt, solid build, short dark hair, careful movements. He walked to her window and knocked once. "Ms. Collins," he said through the glass, "please step out of the car." Her fingers locked around the steering wheel. She shook her head. His expression did not change. He pointed past her shoulder. She turned to look. The driver's door of the front SUV opened. Boots hit the pavement. Black jeans, black leather jacket, helmet in one hand, dark hair slightly messy, shoulders loose. He walked toward her car with the same relaxed control she had seen on the highway. The biker. He stopped at her window. The first man stepped back. He rested one hand on the roof of her car and leaned in a little. "Open the door, Ava," he said. "We're done playing in traffic." Her heart jumped. "How do you know my name?" He lifted one brow. "Open the door." "I'm calling the police." Her voice shook, but she raised her phone anyway. "You can call whoever you want," he said. "But you're getting out of this car." Up close, his presence felt heavier. People on the sidewalk slowed, looked over, then turned away fast because they did not want to be seen staring. She forced herself to meet his eyes. "Who are you?" For a second, there was a hint of surprise in his face. He did not look used to being challenged. Then it vanished. "You'll find out," he said. "Right now you're going to step out, you're going to walk, and you're going to keep your head down." "No." The word came out before she could stop it. The men nearby went still. His jaw flexed. "You have no idea who you're talking to." "I know enough," she said. "You're some guy who thinks he can trap a woman with cars on a public street. That doesn't make you important. It makes you disgusting." Silence hit hard. He studied her, green eyes steady on her face. Then he nodded once as he reached a decision. "Leo Conti," he said. "Remember the name next time you lean out of your window and yell." The name slammed into her. She had heard Conti before. Night news, quick comments Nate would not explain, warnings at the office about certain people and certain blocks. Conti meant power and danger. Her throat went dry. He watched understanding move through her. "Now you get it," he said quietly. "You disrespected the wrong man tonight. I stopped traffic for you. My people watched. My enemies watched. You don't get to walk away and pretend this was nothing." "I didn't ask you to stop," she said, voice thin. "I just wanted you to drive like a normal person." "You crossed my line," he said. "That makes you my problem." He motioned toward the SUV behind her. "Get in the car. If you think I'm going anywhere with you, you're insane." "If you don't," he answered, still calm, "someone else will, on another corner, in another car, without my name attached." Her skin prickled. Lights, stores, people, no one stepping in. He stepped closer. "You go with me, you get home in one piece," he said. "You walk away now, you won't like who follows you next." Fear rose fast. Anger pushed right behind it. "Why should I trust you?" she asked. He leaned in, voice low. "Because if I wanted you gone," he said, "this conversation would be over." Cold slid through her. They stared at each other. Then Ava reached for the lock with a shaking hand and pressed it. The doors clicked. The man beside her opened her door slowly. He did not yank, did not grab. He stepped back and waited. Ava stepped out of the car, legs unsteady, phone clutched in her hand. Up close, Leo Conti was taller than she thought. The city noise stayed loud behind him. "Walk," he said. Every part of her wanted to say no again, but there was a thin, hard line now. Stay alive. She moved. They crossed between the cars. Two of his men followed behind, eyes on the street. She stopped at the open back door of the SUV. "If you hurt me," she said without looking at him, "my brother will find you." "Your brother already tried once," Leo said. The words cut through the panic. She turned. "What does that mean?" "Get in," he said. "We'll talk somewhere better than the middle of an intersection." She climbed in. The leather seat was cold under her legs. She sat stiff, bag on her lap, phone in her hand. Leo got in beside her. Another man took the front passenger seat. The driver pulled away, and her car disappeared in the side mirror as one of his men slid into it, They moved through the city in silence. Streetlights passed. The other SUVs stayed near, a quiet escort. "Where are you taking me?" she asked. "A safer place than where you were," he said. "I was going to work. You were going to get followed into a dark street and shoved into a vehicle that doesn't answer to me," he said. "This is the safer option. You don't get to decide that." He turned his head and looked at her fully. His eyes were steady. "You think you still control anything about tonight?" he asked. "That changed when you rolled your window down and called me reckless in front of a dozen phones." She pressed her lips together and looked back out the window. They crossed the river. The skyline rose in front of them, glass towers lit against the dark. After a few more turns, the SUV descended into an underground garage beneath a tall building. Security cameras watched every angle. A metal gate rolled down after they entered. The SUV stopped in front of a private elevator. The driver got out and opened their door. Leo stepped out first and looked back at her. She stayed in her seat. "I'm not moving until you tell me what you want from me," she said. "Right now," he replied, "I want you alive." "That's not enough." "It's all that matters tonight," he said. "Come on." She slid out, legs weak. The garage was quiet and cold. Two of his men waited near the other SUVs. Two more fell in behind them as Leo walked toward the elevator. Inside, he tapped a code into a small panel. There were no floor numbers. The doors closed, and the elevator began to rise. In the metal reflection, she saw her own wide eyes and flushed face. Next to her, Leo stood still, hands loose at his sides, expression controlled. "You're going to let me go after this," she said. "That depends," he said. "On what?" "On whether letting you walk out draws a target on your back," he said. "If it does, you stay. You can't keep me here." The elevator chimed. The doors slid open. Ava stepped out and stopped. They were alone on an entire floor. Dark wood, floor-to-ceiling windows. The city spread out. A living area, dining table, open kitchen, closed doors leading to other rooms, security cameras in the corners, no hallway, no neighbors. "Welcome to my home," Leo said. She turned to him. "I want to go back to my life." He watched her, green eyes sharp. "You don't have that life anymore, Ava," he said. "You argued with me in traffic. You drew the wrong eyes. Now you're standing in the middle of something you don't see yet." He took one step closer, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to keep his gaze. "You're not leaving," Leo Conti said. "Not until I decide it's safe for you to walk out that door." The elevator doors closed behind them with a soft, metallic thud that felt louder than it should. Ava stood in the center of Leo Conti's penthouse, pulse pounding in her ears, trying to understand how an argument in traffic had turned into this. The city glittered beyond the windows. Manhattan stretched out like a cold ocean of lights, but none of it made her feel less trapped. Leo walked past her, shrugging off his jacket. He placed it neatly over a chair, his movements controlled, precise, as if he had practiced hiding emotion for years. "You can sit," he said without looking back. "I'm not staying," she answered. "You are." He opened a cabinet near the kitchen, pulled out 2 glasses, and poured water into one. He set it on the marble counter, sliding it toward her without force. "Drink. You're shaking." "I'm shaking," she snapped, "because I was followed, boxed in, and dragged out of my own car." "You weren't dragged." "Don't do that," she said. "Don't soften what happened." For the first time since they'd entered the penthouse, he turned fully toward her. The city lights cast sharp shadows across his face, making his eyes look even more intense. "I didn't soften anything. If I wanted to intimidate you, Ava, you'd know. I didn't have you brought here to hurt you." "Then why?" "Because someone else was going to." He stepped closer, but not enough to touch her. "And they were going to do it tonight." Her stomach twisted. "How do you know that?" "My world has eyes," he said. "You became visible the second you screamed at me on the highway. Phones were out. People watched. Enemies watched." "You mean your enemies?" He nodded once. "And if they think you matter to me—" "I don't," she cut in. He didn't react. "Whether you do or not isn't the point. Perception keeps people alive, or kills them. She folded her arms, hugging herself. You're talking like some villain in a movie. Leo's expression didn't change. I'm talking like someone who keeps people alive for a living. That's not comforting. It wasn't meant to be. He walked to a wall panel and tapped in a code. The tinted glass darkened, giving them privacy from the outside world. The room felt smaller instantly. You're safe here, he said. You don't get to tell me that. I just did. Ava let out a humorless breath. Do you always talk like that? Like what? Like you own the air? He almost smiled. Almost. People hear me better that way. She hated that it made sense. He motioned toward the sofa. Sit. No. He exhaled slowly. Ava, you've had a long night. And whose fault is that? He walked toward her again. She refused to step back, though every instinct screamed to create distance. He stopped close enough that she could see the faint scruff across his jaw and the small scar near his temple. I didn't ask you to yell at me in traffic, he said quietly. You made that choice. You cut me off. And you said it loud enough for half the city to hear. You provoked me. His gaze flicked down to her mouth for a second, barely a second, but the movement sent a shiver through her. He stepped back as if he'd noticed it too. As I said, he murmured. A long night. Ava tore her eyes away. I want to call my brother. You will, not tonight. Why not? Because he'll come here with backup, Leo said. He'll make noise, and noise gets you killed. She froze. Is that a threat? No, he said. It's the truth. He walked past her, heading toward one of the closed hallway doors. Come on, I'll show you where you'll sleep. I'm not sleeping here. Yes, you are. He opened one of the doors, revealing a guest room that looked more like a suite in a five-star hotel. Soft lighting, a king-size bed, a private bathroom. A small seating area near a window overlooking the river. Ava clutched her bag tighter. How long do you plan on keeping me? She asked. Until I figure out what they want with you. They? Ava whispered. Someone was tracking you before I found you tonight. His eyes didn't waver. That's not normal, not random, and not my people. Ice slid down her spine. I didn't do anything, she said. I'm a designer, not, I don't know, whatever world you live in. I know what you are, Leo said. And what you're not. Then how could anyone be watching me? That's what I'm going to find out. He reached into a drawer in the nightstand and placed a folded shirt and sweatpants on the bed. You can shower, change, rest. Rest, she repeated. I'm being held hostage, if you want to call it that. What else would you call it? Protected, he answered simply. I didn't ask for your protection. You didn't ask for their attention either, he said. But you have it. She regretted the slight tremble in her voice when she said, I want to go home. He held her gaze for a long moment, something unreadable passing behind his eyes. You will, he said, but not tonight. He turned to walk away. Ava's words came out before she could stop them. Wait. He paused. Looked back. You said earlier. My brother tried once. Tried what? Leo's jaw flexed. Nothing you need to worry about tonight. Tell me. He stepped back into the room, voice lower than before. Years ago, he got too close to one of my operations. My brother is a detective, she said sharply. He does his job. You can't blame... I'm not blaming him, Leo said. I'm telling you he isn't a stranger to my world. That's why calling him tonight is a mistake. Her breath hitched. Are you saying Nate is in danger? I'm saying Nate knows the rules, and he knows you need to stay exactly where you are. He would never agree with this. Leo nodded once. Because he thinks he can control every situation. And you don't? He gave her a look, half challenge, half acknowledgement. I control what's mine. I'm not yours. His voice barely dropped, but it changed everything. Not yet. Her heartbeat stuttered. He didn't move closer. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't touch her. But the air between them thickened anyway, charged with something she didn't want to name. Leo, You need sleep, he cut in. We'll talk in the morning. He stepped out of the room, but before closing the door, he paused. If you try to run, he said quietly, my men will stop you. Of course they will, she muttered. But not because of what you think. She blinked. What does that mean? He held her gaze, then said, because I'm trying to keep you alive, Ava. Try to believe that, even if you don't believe anything else. The door clicked shut. Ava stood alone in the room, breath uneven, mind spinning. She looked around the luxurious space, the soft lighting, the too beautiful bed, the city beyond the glass. Then she turned and froze. On the far wall, high near the ceiling, a small security camera faced the room, not blinking, not moving, just there, watching. She stepped toward it, her voice low. This is insane. Somewhere beyond the door she heard footsteps, his, steady, unhurried, commanding. Ava backed away from the camera, heart racing again. She whispered into the empty room, what do you really want with me, Leo Conti? No answer came, but deep down she knew. The night wasn't close to over. Ava didn't sleep, not for a second. She lay on top of the covers, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the night. The traffic fight, the SUVs, the way Leo Conti said her name like he'd known it forever, the camera in the corner, the quiet footsteps outside her room. Every sound inside the penthouse felt magnified. A door closing somewhere, a low voice, the faint hum of the elevator. Near dawn, exhaustion finally pushed her to sit up. Her hair was tangled, her shirt wrinkled, her nerves raw. She splashed cold water on her face in the bathroom, then changed into the clothes Leo had left for her, soft sweatpants and a long black t-shirt that smelled faintly like cedar and expensive cologne. She hated that the scent made her knees waver. She cracked the guest room door open. Silence. The penthouse was dim, the sky just beginning to lighten beyond the glass walls. She stepped into the open living space carefully, like the floor might disappear beneath her. Leo was there, sitting at the dining table, back to the windows, hands around a mug of coffee. He wasn't wearing a jacket, just a black t-shirt that fit across his shoulders in a way that made her pulse throb harder. His hair was slightly messy, like he'd run a hand through it too many times. He didn't look surprised to see her. He didn't even look tired. Morning, he said. His voice cut clean through the quiet. Ava hugged her arms around herself. Do you sleep? When I can. She stood by the kitchen island, keeping distance between them. Did you watch me on the cameras? Only to make sure you didn't try to leave. I wasn't going to. Yes, you were. Annoyance flared through her exhaustion. And what if I had? Then someone outside this building would have picked you up, he said simply, and you wouldn't be standing here talking to me. She didn't like his calmness. It wasn't arrogance. She was beginning to realize it was something worse. Certainty. He didn't speak like a man making guesses. He spoke like a man who never gambled with what he couldn't control. Leo, she started, uncertain. You said someone was following me before I even saw you. How do you know that? He set his mug down. Come here. It wasn't a command, but it wasn't optional either. Ava's chest tightened as she walked over, stopping a few feet from him. He tapped the table. A tablet lay there, screen lit, paused on a video. Her car, driving down a street she recognized near her office. Her breath stilled. Where did you get this? From one of my guys who monitors movement around certain locations. Certain locations, she repeated. Meaning what? Places that matter to my people, Leo said. Places where threats show up. Ava's pulse picked up. Why would my office matter to you? He hesitated. Not long enough for most people to notice, but long enough for her to catch. Because someone connected to me used to work near there, he said. Used to? Who? He didn't answer. He pressed play. Her car rolled down the street. A man leaned against a lamppost near the bus stop, hood up, hands in pockets, pretending to scroll his phone. The camera zoomed slightly. She could see his lips moving, a small device in his ear. He wasn't waiting for a bus. He was watching her days ago, before the traffic fight. Her skin felt too tight. Is he one of Cole Bennett's men? Leo said quietly. One of his scouts. Ava blinked fast. Why would he be watching me? That's the question. His voice dropped. And the reason you're here. Her heart hammered with fear she couldn't swallow. This doesn't make sense, she whispered. I'm nobody. I don't know any of you. I don't know this Cole person. I don't know anything. And yet, Leo murmured, he watched you anyway. She shook her head hard, rejecting it. No, this is impossible. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe he was watching someone else. Ava. His voice cut through her panic, calm, firm, certain. No one in my world does anything by coincidence. She sucked in a breath, fighting the shake in her chest. So what does he want with me? Leo's jaw clenched, the muscle flicking once. That's what I'm figuring out. She wrapped her arms tighter around herself. You said something last night, about my brother, about him getting too close. What did Nate do? Leo leaned back in his chair, watching her with the kind of tired patience that came from years of dealing with chaos. Years ago, he said, Nate followed one of my shipments. He thought we were involved in something bigger. Someone gave him a tip. Someone? She asked. Who? Doesn't matter. His gaze sharpened. He got close enough that my people noticed. Close enough for what? To get hurt, he said simply, unless someone intervened. Something about the way he said that made her stomach twist. You? She breathed. Leo didn't confirm and didn't deny. He just watched her with those steady green eyes. Nate never told me any of this, she said. He wouldn't. Why not? Because he didn't want you in the middle of it, Leo said. The same reason I don't. But she was already in the middle. And my dad? She asked quietly. Does this have anything to do with him? Leo's face went still, completely still. Ava felt the shift even if she didn't understand it. My father worked undercover years ago, she continued. He died after a sting operation went wrong. Nate always blamed something. Someone. But he never explained. She stepped closer. He wouldn't talk about it. Ever. So I'm asking you. Stillness. Silence. Leo rose from the chair slowly. He wasn't intimidating her. He just took up space in a way that made everything else feel smaller. You want the truth? He asked. Yes, she whispered. He stepped toward her, stopping only when she could feel the heat of him. Some of it, he said, is mine to tell. Some of it isn't. That sounds like a yes, she breathed. You knew him. Leo didn't move. Did you? She pressed. For the first time since she'd met him, something flickered in his eyes. Regret, maybe, or memory. Something heavy. But before he could answer, the elevator chimed. Leo's head snapped toward it. He moved in front of her without thinking, body shifting into something protective. The doors opened, and two of his guards stepped out. Boss, one said. We found something. Leo didn't relax. What? Someone tried to access the security feed on your private floor during the night. Ava's breath hitched. Leo's voice went cold. From inside or outside? Inside. Ava felt the blood drain from her face. Leo didn't look at her, but his hand tightened at his side. Who? He asked. The guard swallowed. It came from Adrian's system. Ava didn't know who Adrian was, but the way Leo went still, completely, dangerously still, told her everything she needed to know. The guard continued carefully. We checked twice. The attempt wasn't fully successful, but whoever did it wanted access to the guest room camera feed. The air punched out of her chest. The guest room. Her. Leo's jaw flexed hard. Where is he now? In his suite, the guard said. Said he couldn't sleep. Leo didn't hesitate. He turned to Ava. Go back to your room. Leo. Now, he said. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried more force than any shout. She didn't move. What's going on? Why would someone in your own place? Because someone inside my family is helping Cole Bennett, Leo said. And I need to know why they were watching you. Her stomach flipped. Your family? Leo didn't blink. Adrian Conti is my cousin. The name hit her like a cold slap. You think your own cousin is spying on me? She whispered. I think he's doing a lot more than spying. Her throat felt too tight to breathe. What does he want with me? Leo stepped closer, close enough that she had to look up to see his face. That, he said, voice low and controlled, is what I intend to find out, but I'm not doing it with you standing here. She swallowed hard. I'm scared. He reached out, not touching her, but close enough that she felt the warmth of his hand near her elbow. You should be, he said honestly, but not of me. She held his gaze, breath catching again. Go to your room, Ava, he said. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but me. Her voice broke. What if something happens? His eyes hardened with something fierce and final. Nothing will happen to you, he said. Not while I'm breathing. Ava backed away slowly, heart pounding so loud it drowned out everything else. Leo turned toward his cousin's suite, shoulders squared, jaw set. He didn't look back. The last thing Ava heard before she closed her door was the echo of Leo's footsteps, steady, lethal, and ready for war. And in that moment, she realized something terrifying. She wasn't afraid of Leo Conti anymore. She was afraid of what he was about to do. Ava paced the guest room like a caged heartbeat. Every few seconds she stopped and listened, straining for any sound from the hallway. Voices, footsteps, anything that might tell her what was happening between Leo and his cousin behind those closed doors. But the penthouse stayed painfully quiet, too quiet. Her mind spun through everything Leo had said. Someone inside his own family. Someone watching her camera feed. Someone working with Cole Bennett. Someone dangerous enough that Leo's voice had shifted from calm control into something sharp and deadly. Ava wrapped her arms around herself and stepped toward the window. The sky was fully awake now, streaks of gold spreading over Manhattan. It should have been comforting. It wasn't. A faint sound echoed down the hall, a door opening, then another. Men's voices, low, tense. Not Leo's. Her pulse raced. She pressed her ear to the door, breath held. She could make out words now, clipped and angry. You're wrong, Leo. Adrian. She recognized the voice from earlier when the guards had mentioned him. Then Leo's voice came, low but unmistakably dangerous. Tell me why your system accessed that camera. It didn't. You're going to lie to me? It wasn't me. Someone used your access codes. Then someone stole them. Leo's voice dropped even lower. Who? A long pause. Ava's throat tightened. She hated the fear curling inside her, but she also hated how badly she wanted to hear Leo's voice again, anything to steady her spinning nerves. Adrian spoke again, softer. You're paranoid, and you're avoiding the question, Leo said. Why were Cole's men watching Ava before she even knew my name? Why did a scout show up near her office? Why did my system show your login requesting access to her room? I don't know what you think I did. Leo cut him off. I don't think. I know what the system shows. Another pause, this one long enough to make Ava's chest ache. If you're implying I'm helping Cole. I'm not implying anything, Leo snapped. I'm telling you I'm out of patience. The air in the hallway vibrated with tension. Then footsteps. Closer. Moving toward her room. Ava stumbled back from the door just as someone knocked. Hard. Open the door. Not Leo. Her stomach dropped. She stayed silent. Another knock. Ava, it's Adrian. Let me in. Her breath hitched. No, 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 no. She stepped farther away, voice barely a whisper. Leo said, I know what Leo said. Adrian called, tone twisting into frustration. But he's not thinking clearly right now. I can explain what's happening. You need to open the door. Her hands trembled. She looked around. There was no weapon, nothing she could use to defend herself. Only a heavy lamp, She grabbed it. "Go away," she shouted, voice cracking more than she wanted. Silence. Then, "Ava." Leo's voice. Relief exploded in her chest so fast she nearly dropped the lamp. "Open the door! It's me!" She rushed forward, cracking the door open an inch, just enough to see him. Leo stood there, broad shoulders filling the hallway, jaw tight, eyes sharper than she'd ever seen them. Adrian hovered behind him, face flushed with anger, or fear. She couldn't tell. "Are you okay?" Leo asked. She nodded even though she wasn't sure. "He knocked," he said. I know what he said. Leo turned his head slightly toward Adrian. "Leave." Adrian's jaw clenched. "Leo, leave," Leo repeated. "Now." Adrian glared at Ava for a fraction of a second, or maybe she imagined it. Then he walked away, footsteps echoing down the hall until a door slammed. Leo exhaled roughly and placed a hand on the doorframe, not blocking her but steadying himself. "Did he scare you?" She swallowed. "Yes." His jaw flexed. "He won't do it again." He didn't say how he planned to make sure of that. "Come with me," he said. "We need to talk." Ava hesitated. Every instinct screamed don't follow, but something else, something warmer, shakier, undeniably real, pushed her forward. Trust, or something close enough to it that she couldn't name it. She stepped into the hallway. Leo placed a hand on her back, guiding her gently. Not pushing, just enough to make her feel safe. He walked her into the open living area. The guards were gone. Adrian was gone. Only the morning light and the quiet hum of the city remained. Leo sat at the dining table and motioned for her to sit across from him. She did. For a moment neither of them spoke. His eyes studied her, assessing her fear, her exhaustion, her anger. She broke the silence first. "What's happening?" His expression shifted, still hard, still controlled, but more honest than before. "You were watched," he said quietly. "Long before yesterday. Long before I pulled you out of that car." "I don't understand why," she said. "I don't either." His tone sharpened. "Which is a problem." Ava bit her lip. "And Adrian?" Leo leaned back, fingers tapping once on the table. "Adrian knows things he shouldn't know. He's had access he shouldn't have used. And he's lying to my face." "Why would he do that?" "For money, for power, or because Cole Bennett promised him something I can't." The thought made her shiver. "And what about me? Why would a mafia rival want anything to do with me?" Leo didn't answer immediately. He looked at her like he was weighing every word he planned to say. "Yesterday," he said finally, "when you yelled at me in traffic, I wasn't angry because of the words. You were." "I was surprised," he corrected. "No one talks to me like that. Not anymore." "So you—" "What? Got offended?" His eyes flashed with the ghost of a smile. "A little." Despite everything, her lips twitched. "But that wasn't the problem," he continued. "The problem was the timing." "Timing?" "Cole's men were in the area. They saw you interacting with me. They saw the SUVs stop. They saw my men step out." His gaze locked onto hers. "And in my world, that means something." Ava's pulse quickened. "Like what?" Leo's voice dropped. "That you're connected to me." Heat crawled up her neck. "I'm not." "Doesn't matter," he said. "They think you are, and that makes you leverage." Ava's breath stalled. "So, I'm bait?" "No." His eyes hardened. "You're a weapon they think they can use." She shook her head. "Against you?" "Yes." "But why me? Why not someone else?" "Ava." His voice softened in a way that scared her more than anything else he'd said. "Your last name isn't a coincidence." Her stomach flipped. "Leo, your father," he said gently, "was involved in something bigger than you were told." The world tilted under her. "No," she whispered. "No, my father he was a good man. He worked undercover. He saved someone in my family," Leo said. "Saved him with his life." Ava stared, unable to breathe. "You knew him," she whispered. Leo held her gaze steadily. Yes, he said quietly. I knew him. Her eyes burned as the room blurred around the edges. Leo leaned forward, elbows on the table, voice soft but unyielding. I didn't tell you last night because you were scared. You needed time to steady yourself. But your father wasn't just a cop who got caught in the wrong operation. He stepped into a situation meant to kill someone else, someone I loved, and he took the consequences. Ava's hands trembled. She gripped the edge of the chair to keep them still. My father died helping you. Leo looked down for the first time since she'd met him. He died because I couldn't get there fast enough. Pain stabbed through her throat like a blade. You were there? I was on my way. Ava's breath hitched. Why didn't Nate tell me? Because he blames me, Leo said quietly. And he should. Ava dug her nails into her palm. So what does this have to do with Cole? Everything, Leo said. He wants to use your bloodline to get to me, to make me lose control, to make me choose between power and protection. But that's insane, Ava whispered. In my world, Leo said, eyes meeting hers with heavy truth. Insane is strategy. Silence stretched thick between them. Ava finally whispered, so what happens now? Leo's answer came without hesitation. I protect you. I don't want protection. I want answers. You're getting them. And then what? You keep me locked in here forever? No, he said. Not forever. But not today, she said bitterly. No, he said again. Not today. A knock sounded at the far door, sharp and urgent. Leo stood instantly, tension flooding his posture. One of his guards appeared in the doorway. Boss, we have a problem. Leo's expression went glacial. What now? Adrian's gone. Ava's heart slammed against her ribs. Leo stepped forward. Gone where? We don't know, the guard said. He disabled 2 cameras before he left. And he took his car. Leo's jaw flexed once, the muscle twitching like a fuse had been lit. And that's not all, the guard added. A message was left in the garage. What message? The guard swallowed. Your guest, her name, written on the windshield. Ava froze. Leo turned slowly toward her. His eyes were darker than she'd seen them, harder, wilder. Ava, he said, voice razor sharp. You're not safe here anymore. Her breath stopped. Pack what you need, he said. Why? Where are we going? Leo didn't blink. To ground zero, he said. To the one place no one can reach you. And where is that? Leo answered without looking away from her. To war. Ava didn't remember grabbing her bag. She didn't remember following Leo through the penthouse. She barely remembered the elevator doors closing around them as they descended into the private garage. Her mind repeated only one thing. Adrian is gone, and he wrote my name. Her legs moved, but her thoughts dragged behind her like dead weight. Leo walked one step ahead, long strides, shoulders tense, every inch of him coiled in silent rage. Not loud, not explosive. Worse, controlled. The kind of control that meant someone was about to learn what it felt like to cross him. The elevator opened into the cavernous underground garage. Several of Leo's men waited there, alert, armed, scanning every corner. One of them stepped aside, revealing a black SUV with something smeared across the windshield. Ava's stomach clenched. Her name, Ava, written in bold red strokes from one end to the other. Paint, or something thicker. Leo stepped closer. The tension in his shoulders tightened in a way that made every man in the room straighten. He didn't touch the windshield. He didn't swear. He didn't shout. He exhaled through his nose, slow, lethal. Cole wants a reaction, he said. Adrian delivered it. Ava swallowed. Was this meant to scare me? No, Leo said calmly. It was meant to scare me. Then he finally turned toward her. His eyes weren't angry at her. They were angry for her. Ava, listen to me carefully, he said. We're moving to a safer location. No one knows it exists except my inner circle. Your inner circle? She whispered. But Adrian is out, Leo said sharply. He made sure of that. Her pulse hammered in her throat. And what if he tells Cole where you're taking me? He can't. Leo's tone didn't waver. Adrian never learned about this safe house. No one does unless I choose to share it. A guard approached. Boss, route is clear. Leo nodded once, then looked at Ava again. You'll stay close to me, he said. Not behind, not in another car, with me. Understood? Her voice barely formed. Yes? He opened the door for her himself, not like a gentleman, but like a man placing something precious inside a vault. She slid into the passenger seat, still trembling. Leo got in beside her and shut the door. The engine started. The caravan of SUVs moved as one. Ava breathed out slowly, staring straight ahead. This is insane. Leo glanced at her. No, this is organized. That's not comforting. It should be, he said. The only chaos here is Adrian's betrayal. She hugged her arms around herself. What did he want? Why would he work with Cole at all? Leo didn't answer immediately. He took a left into a narrower tunnel beneath the building, one Ava hadn't even noticed existed. Adrian's ambition has always been bigger than his loyalty, Leo said at last. And Cole knows how to use ambition like a weapon. So he was working with your enemy to, what, replace you? Leo gave a humorless breath. He wanted more power. Cole wanted a crack in my walls. They used each other. And me? She asked softly. Why me? Leo's hands tightened on the wheel. Because Cole wanted someone personal, someone close enough to hurt me without firing a single shot. Ava looked out the window. But I'm not close to you. A pause. Leo didn't look at her. You became close the second I pulled you out of that car. Her heart thudded. Not from fear. Something warmer. Dangerous in a different way. She faced him. Leo, my father. You never finished telling me. His jaw clenched. I told you enough. No, she said, voice steady now. You told me fragments. You said he saved someone in your family. You said Nate blames you. You said he died because you couldn't get there fast enough. I need to know what really happened. Leo pulled the car into a hidden ramp that sloped upward, leading to an unmarked exit onto a quiet street. The city noise faded behind the tinted windows, becoming distant and irrelevant. You're asking for a truth that doesn't fix anything, he said. Then tell me anyway. His fingers drummed once on the steering wheel. A muscle flicked in his jaw. He didn't answer until they'd merged onto a sparsely trafficked road that cut between warehouses. Your father, he said slowly, was part of an undercover task force investigating several families, mine included, but he wasn't after me. Then who? My brother, Leo said quietly. Luca, he was 17 at the time, too young. Too reckless. He got caught up in something that wasn't meant for him. Ava's chest tightened. The operation where my father died was supposed to be an extraction, Leo said. Your father infiltrated the location because he knew Luca was inside. He went in to help him. She blinked fast. My father saved your brother. Yes? And you said he died because you didn't get there in time. Leo inhaled, long and slow. I was on my way, he said. I had intel that the location was going to be hit by a corrupt officer, someone working with another crew. I knew your father and Luca were inside. I was minutes away. His voice lowered. When I got there, your father was already down. Ava's breath fractured in her chest. Leo. Luca ran to him. Leo said quietly. Your father told us to leave. To run. He stayed behind to block the shot. He saved my brother's life with his last breath. Her eyes burned. No one had ever told her this. No one had even hinted. And the person who shot him? Not one of mine, Leo said. Not even close. Her grip on her own hands tightened. Then why would Nate blame you? Because I survived, Leo said simply. And his father didn't. The words landed like stones in her stomach. They drove in silence for a long moment, until Ava found her voice again. What does Cole want with me then? Revenge? A trade? Neither, Leo said. He wants leverage. Something to destabilize me. Something to make me react. Ava swallowed. And he thinks I'm that leverage. You are, Leo said quietly. She exhaled, shaky. And you're taking me somewhere no one can find. Yes. And if Adrian tries to lead Cole to us? Leo's eyes hardened. He'll fail. How can you know that? Leo glanced at her, gaze sharp. Because I will end this before he gets the chance to try. Her heartbeat staggered. She didn't know if she feared his world more, or the certainty in his voice. The road darkened as they turned into a long, almost empty service lane beneath an old overpass. The SUVs following them split into different directions, some taking alternate routes, some peeling away to confuse anyone tracking them. Ava frowned. Where are we going? Leo typed a code into a dash panel she hadn't noticed. A hidden gate rose ahead of them. Ground Zero, he said again. But this time the phrase felt heavier. Real. What is it? She asked. A place I built after Luca's death. He paused. A place where no one can get in unless I invite them. And Adrian? We'll never see it. They entered a dim underground corridor that stretched like a tunnel into darkness. The gate closed behind them with a metallic thud that echoed too loudly in Ava's chest. Leo parked in a private bay and turned off the engine. Ava stared at him. Tell me the rest. Leo rested his hands on the wheel. What rest? You said some of the truth wasn't yours to tell, so tell the part that is. His gaze lifted to hers. The green in his eyes looked darker down here, almost black. You're right, he said quietly. I didn't finish. Her throat tightened. Finish it now. Leo reached across the console, not touching her, just closing the small distance between them. Ava, he said softly, your father didn't just save Luca. Her breath caught. He continued, voice low. He saved me too. The world tilted. Ava stared at him, stunned. You? He nodded. I was supposed to be at that location. I was late. If I had been inside when the corrupt officer opened fire. He paused. I wouldn't be here. Her heart thudded painfully. So he saved both of you. Yes. And you. She swallowed. You never told Nate? He wouldn't have listened, Leo said. And he wouldn't have forgiven. So you kept it a secret? No, Leo said. I carried it. They're different things. The silence between them thickened, heavy with everything unsaid. Ava let out a small, ragged breath. Everything about my life changed after my father died. Nate changed. I lost him in a way too. And all this time I was trying to protect what he left behind. Leo said. Both of you. Her voice cracked. By keeping me here? No, he said firmly. By keeping you alive. Her eyes burned, but she forced herself to hold his gaze. Leo, she whispered, what am I to you? Something shifted in his eyes, something raw, something unguarded. You're the only thing in this city I won't lose, he said. Her breath hitched. Before she could respond, a sharp buzz cut through the car, Leo's phone. He looked at the screen, expression turning to stone. What is it? She asked. Leo answered without looking at her. Ava, they have your friend. Her blood turned to ice. Who? Mia? Leo's jaw tightened. Cole's crew took her 10 minutes ago. Ava's vision blurred. No, she has nothing to do with this. Leo finally looked at her. When he spoke, it wasn't cold, it was lethal. They took her, he said, because they couldn't find you. Ava's fingers trembled uncontrollably. Leo reached for her hand, not grabbing, just grounding. We're going to get her back, he said. But you need to understand something. What? She whispered. He leaned in, voice quiet and deadly calm. Cole Bennett just made this personal. Ava had never heard silence roar before. But inside Leo's hidden safe house, deep underground, doors sealed behind steel and codes, silence didn't feel empty. It felt like a countdown. Her breath trembled as she stared at Leo, still processing the message that had shattered whatever remained of her composure. Mia was taken, her best friend, her closest person in the world, because they couldn't find Ava. Ava covered her mouth with both hands. Mia doesn't even know your name. She's innocent, Leo. She's my person. I know. She's probably terrified. She hates confrontation. Ava's voice cracked, and she swallowed hard, eyes burning. This is my fault. Leo moved instantly. No, he said sharply. This is not your fault. This is Cole's fault, and Adrian's, and mine. His voice, usually calm, controlled, held something new, something brutal. A vow, a promise of violence. Ava shook her head, panic rising fast, swelling hot and unbearable in her chest. I have to go to her. I have to. You're not going anywhere. I can't stay here, she cried. She's out there. Leo, she's alone. If you leave, he interrupted, he'll take you too. Good, then take me. Let Mia go. Leo's jaw flexed so sharply it looked painful. Don't say that again, he said, low and dangerous. But it's true. Her voice broke as tears slipped down her cheeks. She doesn't deserve this. And you do? He snapped. Ava froze. Leo rarely raised his voice. He didn't need to. But now he wasn't hiding his emotions. You think you're the only one who wants her safe? He said. Cole took her because he knows what she means to you, because he knows you won't run, because he knows you'll walk straight into his trap to get her back. Ava's chest tightened. And he's right. Leo stepped closer, close enough for her to see the fury tightening his features. No, he's not. She blinked up at him, trembling. Then what am I supposed to do? Sit here? Wait? Pretend I'm not the reason my best friend is in danger? Leo's eyes softened, only for a second. I'm not asking you to do nothing, he said. I'm asking you to trust that I will get her back. Ava looked away, voice small. I don't know if I can. He didn't flinch, but the truth cut him. She saw it in the slight drop of his shoulders. She wiped her eyes. Tell me everything. What did the message say? Leo pulled out his phone and turned the screen toward her. A photo. Mia in a warehouse-like space, bound to a chair, eyes terrified, a smear of dirt on her cheek. Her outfit from earlier that day, a pale sweater Ava had complimented, looked wrinkled. Behind her a man's shadow fell over the concrete floor. Ava's breath hitched. Below the picture a message. Bring her home, Conti. We want the girl you're hiding. You have 12 hours. Ava stepped back like she'd been hit. Oh my God. Leo lowered the phone. They won't hurt her before the deadline, he said. Cole wants you alive. And scared. Both serve his purpose. Ava pressed her palms to her eyes. I'm going to be sick. Leo reached out and steadied her elbow, not gripping, just supporting her weight when her knees almost gave out. Sit, he said softly. She sank into the edge of a leather bench, shaking. Leo crouched in front of her, eye level. I'm going to ask again, he said. Do you trust me to get her back? Ava's voice was barely a whisper. I want to, I do, but you're scared, he finished. Good. Fear keeps you alive. She closed her eyes. Leo, why is this happening to me? He rested his palms on his knees, leaning closer. His voice dropped. Because I wasn't honest with you from the start, and because my world doesn't let anyone stay innocent. Not me, not my family, not even the people who cross my path. She whispered, I didn't cross your path. You cut me off in traffic. He exhaled, almost a laugh, but bitter. And I've regretted that moment every second since. She opened her eyes. And for the first time, Leo wasn't a force of power or violence or control. He was a man carrying guilt so heavy it distorted every part of him. What do we do? She whispered. Leo stood slowly, eyes darkening into something sharper than anger. First, he said, I find out where Cole is holding her. How? He didn't answer with words. He reached into a storage rack beside the SUV and pulled out a black case, snapped it open. Inside, weapons, devices, encrypted radios. Ava stared, chest tightening. Leo glanced at her. I'm not going to war blind. Her voice trembled. This is insane. This, he said, loading a magazine with chilling efficiency. is sanity in my world. Ava forced herself to breathe. You said you built this place after Luca died. But why? Why do you need something like this? Leo closed the case and turned to her. Because I learned one lesson that night, he said. The world takes the people you love if you're not ready to defend them. Ava shivered at the naked truth in his voice. And now, he added, Cole made the mistake of taking someone you love. Her stomach twisted painfully. Leo, please tell me you're not planning to kill him. Leo's answer was automatic. I plan to end him. Ava's breath hitched. I don't want anyone dying because of me. Leo walked toward her slowly, stopping inches away, his shadow falling over her. You don't get to decide what happens to men who hurt people under my protection, he said quietly. Cole made his choice. She shook her head, tears threatening again. Leo, this isn't who I am. I know, he murmured, and I don't want this to be who you have to be either. He lifted her chin with 2 fingers, gently but firmly guiding her gaze to his. You asked me earlier what you are to me. Her breath stalled. Do you want the truth? He whispered. She nodded. You're the only thing in this city that matters now, he said. Ava's heart clenched so hard it hurt. He dropped his hand and stepped back before she could answer, before she could even understand what the truth meant. He walked to a wall panel and pressed his thumb to it. A hidden door slid open, revealing screens, footage from cameras across the city, streets, parking lots, alleyways, a command center, a war room. Leo's voice sharpened. We don't have much time. Ava approached him slowly. Tell me what you need from me. Leo turned to her. His face softened, not with weakness, but with something dangerously close to vulnerability. I need you, he said, to stay alive long enough for me to get your friend back. Ava swallowed. And after that? He looked at her like the rest of the world had fallen away. After that, he said quietly, everything changes. Her pulse fluttered. She stepped closer, eyes locked on his. Leo, what if they hurt her before we get there? They won't, he said. How do you know? He leaned in, voice barely a breath. Because Cole wants me desperate, and nothing makes a man desperate like watching someone he cares about suffer. Ava didn't breathe. And you care about me? She whispered. Leo didn't hesitate. Yes. Her heart nearly stopped. He lifted a hand, cupped her jaw, gentle, steady, grounding. Ava, he murmured, I'm going to get her back. I'm going to end this. And then we're going to talk about what this is. Her pulse pounded in her throat. Leo. He didn't kiss her. He didn't pull away. He just held her there, his thumb brushing her cheek, his eyes locked with hers, until her heartbeat slowed under his touch. Then, the door burst open. Leo's guard rushed inside. Boss, we found Cole's location. Leo's jaw hardened. Where? The guard swallowed. An abandoned shipping yard in Red Hook. Ava's blood froze. Red Hook. Rough, quiet, isolated. Leo's expression shifted into something terrifyingly calm. Get the vehicles ready, he ordered. The guard ran. Ava whispered, When do we leave? Leo turned to her. We don't. Her breath caught. What? You're staying here. No. She stepped toward him. Leo, I'm going. She's my best friend. I have to. You're not stepping into a war zone, he cut in sharply. I'm not staying behind. You are. No. Ava, I'm going. Leo grabbed her waist, not hurting, but stopping her, holding her in place right in front of him. Her breath hitched. Ava, he said softly, if you walk into that place, Cole will kill you before he kills me, because he knows he wins that way. She shook her head, tears rising. I can't just sit here and hope you come back. Leo leaned his forehead to hers, voice low. You're not hoping, he said. You're trusting me. Her breath trembled. I don't know how to do that. Yes, you do, he whispered. You started the moment you got into that SUV. A tear slid down her cheek. Leo caught it with his thumb. I'll bring her home, he murmured. Alive. I swear it on my brother's life. Her heart twisted painfully. Leo. He pulled back just enough to look into her eyes. Lock the doors behind me, he said. Don't open them for anyone but me. She nodded shakily. And Ava? Yes? He hesitated, a rare crack in his armor. When I get back, he said, nothing will keep me from telling you what you mean to me. Her chest tightened. What do I mean? Leo's lips parted, but the guard reappeared at the door. Boss, we're ready. Leo stepped back, jaw set, expression slipping into the one the city feared. Stay alive, he told Ava. I need you to stay alive. Then he turned and walked out. The door slammed shut behind him. Ava's breath broke. Somewhere out there, Mia was waiting. Somewhere out there, Leo was about to walk into a trap. And somewhere deep inside her, a truth she wasn't ready to say out loud threatened to rise. She was already in love with him. The moment Leo disappeared behind the steel door, Ava felt something inside her collapse like a floor giving way. The safe house, previously a bunker of control, now felt like a hollow shell, every wall echoing her breath, every shadow stretching too long. She wrapped her arms around her stomach, trying to stop the trembling. Mia was out there somewhere. Leo was walking straight into a trap, and Ava was locked underground, powerless. Her knees buckled, and she slid down the side of the concrete wall until she was sitting on the cold floor. She pulled her legs to her chest and pressed her forehead against her knees, swallowing down rising panic. Please, God, don't let anything happen to them. Her voice cracked into the empty room. No one answered. Not even the hum of the ventilation system felt comforting. She stood, too restless to stay still. She paced back and forth, counting the seconds, then minutes, then the long stretch of an hour. Every sound outside made her jump. The distant vibration of machinery, the settling of metal beams, the faint buzz of security monitors. The safe house wasn't built for comfort, it was built for survival. But Ava had never felt further from surviving anything. She stopped at the mirror. Her reflection looked like a stranger. Eyes red, hair messy, face pale. She ran her hands through her hair, trying to gather herself. He's going to be okay, she whispered. He promised. But promises didn't stop bullets. And Leo was the kind of man who would take every bullet in the world if it meant protecting someone he cared about. He was reckless in that way, not with life, but with himself. Her chest ached. What if I never see him again? Then she remembered the way he cupped her face before leaving. The promise in his eyes. The softness he rarely let anyone see. A softness that was only for her. A pressure built behind her ribs. Fear, longing, love. Everything tangled until she couldn't breathe. A sudden beep jolted her out of her spiral. The keypad by the door flashed red. Someone was trying to open it. Her heart slammed into her throat. Once, twice. The third code attempt failed. She backed away from the door, pulse hammering. Leo, she whispered. No answer. She scanned the room, a lamp, a chair. Nothing that could defend her from a man with a gun. Her hands shook violently as she grabbed the lamp anyway, holding it like a weapon she had no idea how to use. The keypad beeped again. Wrong code. Then, a fourth attempt. Green light. Access granted. Ava froze. The lock turned. The metal door slid open. A tall silhouette filled the doorway. Her grip loosened on the lamp. Leo? He stepped into the light. His shirt was stained with blood, some dry, some fresh. His cheekbone was bruised and swollen. His knuckles were scraped raw, and there was a cut along his ribs that looked deep enough to need stitches. But his eyes, those fierce, unmistakable eyes, were locked on her like nothing else existed. Ava dropped the lamp. Leo. Oh my God. Leo. He shut the door behind him and turned the lock, exhaling slowly, like he'd been holding his breath for hours. Are you okay? He asked, voice softer than she'd expected. She launched herself forward before she could think, hands flying to his chest, as if needing physical proof that he was real. I thought I was scared. I didn't know. He caught her face in both hands, pulling her closer. Ava, breathe. But she couldn't, not until she asked the only question that mattered. Mia, she whispered. Leo leaned down so their foreheads almost touched. She's safe. Her chest cracked open with relief so sharp she gasped. Tears filled her eyes. She clutched his shirt tighter. Safe? Really safe? Is she hurt? She's shaken, but alive. His thumb brushed her cheek. My men are taking her home. A sob escaped her. She pressed a trembling hand to her mouth. Thank God, Leo, thank God. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. She melted into the warmth, the strength, the smell of smoke and gunpowder, and the faint trace of the cologne she'd memorized without realizing it. He was solid, hot, alive, and yet... Ava pushed back slightly, eyes scanning his injuries. You're bleeding. Leo, what happened to you? It looks worse than it is. She gave him a look. That's not comforting. A ghost of a smile tugged at his lips. You and your honesty. You were shot at, she said, voice breaking. Or stabbed. Or, Leo, sit down. I'm fine. You're not. He opened his mouth, stubbornness ready to fight. But then something flickered in his eyes, something exhausted and vulnerable, and his shoulders sagged just enough to tell her the truth. He wasn't fine at all. Ava grabbed his hand. Come here. She guided him to the sofa in the corner and pushed him gently until he sat. He didn't resist. He watched her, eyes tracing every frantic movement she made. She knelt in front of him. Tell me exactly what happened, she demanded. Leo didn't answer right away. He brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, fingertips grazing her cheek. Her breath caught. War, he said finally. A short one, but loud. She swallowed. And Adrian? His expression hardened. Adrian made his choice. The finality in his voice sent a chill down her spine, but she didn't push. Not yet. And Cole? She whispered. Leo leaned back slightly. He escaped. But he no longer has an army. His men are scattered. His network is gone. So, it's over. For now. Ava exhaled shakily. Leo, I was terrified you wouldn't come back. His jaw tightened. I told you I would. But I didn't know if you'd keep that promise. He studied her, quiet, intense, unreadable. Then he reached out, cupping her face again, his thumb brushing away a tear. Ava, he whispered. There was never a world where I didn't come back to you. Her heart twisted painfully. You promised me something before you left, she said. Leo went still. You said that when you got back. Nothing would keep you from telling me what I mean to you. His breath stalled. His eyes softened. Slowly, deeply, like a wall cracking open. He leaned forward until his forehead touched hers again, both of them breathing the same small space. Ava, he murmured, you are the first thing in my entire life that made me want to be better. Her lips parted. You matter to me in ways I don't know how to say without ruining every line I've drawn for myself. He paused, voice dropping to a rasp. I tried pushing you away. I tried pretending I didn't care, but I can't. Leo. His thumb traced her lower lip, making her breath tremble. You asked what you are to me, he whispered. You're the one thing I'll never let anyone touch. You're the woman I would burn this city for. You're the person I didn't think I'd ever deserve. Her heart pulsed so hard it hurt. Leo, she breathed. I'm not finished. His voice was low, intense, desperate in a way she had never heard from him. You walk into my life and fight me at every turn, he said. You tell me no when others tell me yes. You stand in front of danger like you don't even realize you shouldn't. And somewhere between the moment you yelled at me in traffic and the moment I kissed you in that penthouse, I fell. Ava froze, fell, into her, for her. Leo. He swallowed hard. I love you. Her breath stopped entirely. He said it, the thing she was terrified to want, the thing she felt and didn't dare admit. A tear rolled down her cheek. She leaned in, hands gripping his shoulders. Leo, she whispered, voice shaking. I love you too. Something inside him cracked. His control, his restraint, the armor he spent years building. He pulled her onto his lap in one swift, desperate movement. Their lips met, slow, deep, devastating. Not the kiss of two people crashing together, but of two people finding home. Leo's hands roamed her back, her hair, her waist, pulling her closer like he needed her to breathe. Ava cupped his jaw gently, careful of his injuries, overwhelmed by the heat and tenderness pouring out of him. They kissed until the fear of the night faded, until the world finally felt still. When they pulled apart, Leo rested his forehead against hers again, chest rising and falling with rough breaths. "What happens now?" she whispered. "Now," he said softly, "I keep you safe every day of your life. And if danger comes back?" Leo lifted her hand, kissing her knuckles. "Then danger learns who it's dealing with." Ava smiled through her tears. "And what about us?" she said quietly. He pulled her closer, lips brushing her temple. "We're not going anywhere," he whispered. "You're mine, Ava Collins, and I'm yours." Her heart fluttered. She curled against him, letting his arms wrap around her. Warm, strong, protective. For the first time in her life, danger didn't terrify her, because she wasn't facing it alone. She was facing it with Leo Conti, and nothing in the world felt safer than that. She stayed in his arms for a long time. Time didn't feel real down there. No windows, no clocks. Only his heartbeat under her ear and the slow rise and fall of his chest. At some point, her breathing matched his without her noticing. "I should check on Mia," Ava murmured at last, voice small against his shirt. "You will," Leo said. "They're almost there." "How do you know?" He nodded toward the wall of screens. "Because I don't like guessing." Reluctantly, she pulled back from his embrace. Leo stood with her, one hand still on her waist as if he wasn't ready to let go completely. They walked together toward the monitors. One of the feeds showed the front of Mia's apartment building in Queens. A dark SUV slowed to the curb. Two of Leo's men got out. A moment later, a small figure rushed into frame. "Mia." Ava pressed her fingers to her lips, eyes filling again. Mia sprinted toward the door, turning once to say something to the men. One of them pointed to the camera as if reminding her someone was watching. She looked up, straight at the lens. "Ava," she whispered before she could stop herself, like Mia might somehow hear it. Her best friend's eyes were still red and frightened, but she was walking on her own. No bruises she could see, no restraints, just shock and confusion and a kind of shaky gratitude as she stepped into the building. "She's okay," Ava breathed. Leo's hand found the small of her back. "Told you." A few seconds later, Ava's phone buzzed in her pocket. She fumbled it out with shaking hands. "Mia, Ava, where are you? They said her safe, but I don't even know what that means." I was so scared Ava's throat closed. Her fingers flew over the screen. "Ava, I'm safe, I promise. I saw you on a camera. I'm so sorry this happened to you." Three dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Mia." "Who are these guys?" Ava glanced at Leo. He watched her carefully, giving her the space to choose what to say. She typed slowly. "Ava, it's complicated. I'll explain everything when it's really over. Right now I just need to know. You're home, door locked, right?" "Mia, door triple locked. I'm shaking so bad. But they were weirdly respectful." One of them said, "The boss owes you a favor now." "Do I even want to know what that means?" Ava swallowed and answered. "Ava, it means you're safe, and you're never walking home alone again, okay?" A small laugh emoji came through, followed by a crying one. "Mia, okay, I love you, Ava. Love you too. Sleep if you can text me when you wake up." When the chat went quiet, Ava lowered the phone and let out a breath she felt like she'd been holding since the first picture of Mia came through. Leo studied her profile. "You did good," he said. "I didn't do anything," she replied, voice rough. "You did." "I did what I was supposed to do." She turned to him. "Most people don't risk their lives for someone they barely know." His jaw flexed like he was trying not to say something, then gave up on resisting. I don't barely know you anymore, he said. That ended the night you called me reckless and looked me in the eye like you weren't afraid to die on that road. I wasn't trying to die, she said. I know. His mouth twitched. That's what terrified me. A small knock of reality tapped at the back of her mind. Nate, she said quietly. Leo's eyes cooled a little. Your brother. He's going to find out, Ava said. About Mia, about you, about all of this. He won't let it go. I know. And he hates you. I know that too. He thinks you're responsible for Dad. Leo didn't look away. He's not wrong to wish it had gone differently. She swallowed. What happens when he realizes I chose to stay? With you. Leo stepped closer, closing the distance until her back almost brushed the edge of the console. Then we deal with it, he said. Together. He might come after you. He already did once, Leo said. He didn't stop me then. He won't stop me now. She searched his face. I don't want you to hurt him. I won't, he said simply. You can't promise that. Yes, I can. His voice softened, but the steel in it stayed. I don't hurt the people you love. Something about the way he said that made her chest constrict. You're not afraid of him? She asked. Leo almost smiled. I'm not afraid of men who follow rules. I'm afraid of the ones who don't think they have to. And which one are you? She asked, holding his gaze. His eyes warmed in a way that made her knees feel weak. I used to be neither, he said. Now? Now what? Now I'm the man who rewrites his own rules because a woman who should hate him told him she loves him. Her cheeks heated. You make it sound bigger than it is. I haven't even started, he said quietly. A quiet alarm flashed on one of the screens. One of Leo's men appeared on a video feed outside the safe house door, waiting. Leo glanced over his shoulder, then back at her. They're bringing in a medic, he said. He'll patch me up in the other room. You didn't tell me that, Ava said, frowning. I didn't plan to, he admitted. I was hoping you'd be too distracted by my charm to notice the cut on my side. She rolled her eyes, but the smile on her face was real this time. Sit, I'll walk you over. He let her guide him, one arm over her shoulders when the movement pulled too hard on his injuries. He didn't complain. He only winced once when she wasn't looking. In the doorway, he stopped. Ava. She looked up. Yeah? I meant what I said, he told her. About everything changing. Her pulse picked up. What does everything look like to you? He studied her like he was memorizing the answer she hadn't given yet. You staying somewhere that isn't a target, he said. You working where no one can use your name as leverage. Me cutting ties with anyone who still thinks they can touch what's mine. That sounds like you starting a war with half your life. Maybe I am, he said. Maybe it's time. She hesitated. And if I ask you for something normal? Dinners that don't involve cameras. Nights without guards at the door. Mornings where the only alarm is my phone. He didn't even blink. Then I figure out how to give you that, he said. No matter what it costs me. She stared at him, heart aching in a completely new way. You're serious, she whispered. He leaned down, pressing a kiss to her forehead, his lips lingering there for a second longer than necessary. I don't know how to be anything else with you, he said. A knock came from the other side of the hall. Boss? A voice called. We're ready. Leo straightened. I'll be back in a few minutes, he told her. Take longer, she said. Let them actually fix you. He smirked faintly. Yes, ma'am. She watched him walk away, surrounded by men who would follow him into fire without hesitation. For the first time she understood why. Not because he was feared. Because when Leo Conti cared about someone, he meant it in full. Ava stepped back into the main room and looked at the dead screens, the locked door, the quiet air. Her phone lit up again. Mia, when this is over, you're telling me everything. Ava smiled. Ava. Deal, but you're not going to believe who I fell for. 3 dots appeared. Mia. Is he at least hot? Ava's gaze drifted toward the hall where Leo had disappeared. She typed back. Ava. You have no idea. She hit send, then slipped the phone into her pocket and exhaled. Danger wasn't gone. Nate would come. Cole might still be out there somewhere, licking his wounds. But for the first time since this started, the future didn't feel like a dark tunnel. It felt like a road. Messy, complicated, dangerous, but a road she wasn't walking alone. And whether the world liked it or not, Ava Collins had already made her choice. She chose Leo Conti, and she wasn't planning to let go. If you enjoy stories like this, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. That's how I'll know you truly liked it. Even if you're watching on your TV, grab a second to join this family of fans who love emotional and heartfelt stories. Your support means everything, and it helps us bring you even more tales like this one.